The CDC says nearly half of all Americans suffer from a chronic disease. That inspired Pastor Rick Warren of Saddleback Church to join forces with Dr. Daniel Amen and Dr. Mark Hyman to create the Daniel Plan, 40 Days to a Healthier Life. It really is a lifestyle program developed back in 2011. In the first year, more than 15,000 church members lost more than 250,000 pounds. So they join us for an interview that you'll see first on CBS This Morning. Gentlemen, it is really good to see you.
Thank you, Gail. Good to be back with you guys.
Let's start with you, Pastor Rick, because I love how you started the book. Wow, everybody's fat. And then 2 paragraphs later you say, but
I'm fat.
I'm fat too.
Yeah, I was said I'm a terrible example of this, and I actually had to get up in front of the church and say, you know, you guys, I've only gained 2 or 3 pounds a year. But I said, I've been your pastor for 30 years, so I need to lose 90 pounds. Does anybody else want to join me?
But you were doing a baptism.
That's actually what happened. It wasn't a very spiritual thought. I was doing a baptism, and we are the kind of church that puts people underwater.
Yes.
So I literally was putting people on, bringing them up, and that day I baptized about 850 people. It took me about 4 hours, and along about number 500, a thought went through my mind. It wasn't a very spiritual thought. It was, good night, we are all fat.
Yeah.
This is not your father's Saddleback. We all used to be thin, you know, and then I thought, but I'm fat. And so I got up on Sunday and said, look, I'm gonna get some well-known doctors to help me get in shape. Anybody else want to join me? And I figured a couple hundred people would sign up. And that first day, 12,000 signed up, eventually 15,000. As you said, we lost 250,000 pounds the first year.
So what is the Daniel Plan?
Well, the Daniel Plan adds 3 additional things to the typical health and fitness program. Most programs deal with food and exercise, okay? But we say human beings are a lot more complex than that. There are emotional reasons why you eat. There are spiritual reasons why you eat. There are mental reasons. And so we added faith and focus and friends, or accountability and changing the way you think, and a spiritual motivation, adding that, saying those are the things that will keep you going, because most diets are built on willpower. And willpower keep you going for a long period of time, but eventually you get it doesn't work. You eventually give up because it doesn't fit.
You know, I think this is I think this is such a great idea, because so many people struggle with their weight, and the church, the community, is a great way for people to get together around a shared goal.
Well, that's what we found. People who actually did the program together lost twice as much weight as people who did it alone. It was the power of the community. The community was the medicine.
You don't want to disappoint your friends.
No, it's powerful to show how you can help each other. They shop together, cook together, ate together, they exercise together, and that accountability, the love factor, was what helped people change.
No,
it's positive peer pressure.
The pastor calls it friends, the secret sauce. But what I thought was interesting about you, Dr. Amen, is that the brain is connected to your weight.
Well, it's your brain that pushes you away from the table, telling you that you've had enough, or it is your brain that gives you permission to have the 3rd donut.
But you say when you gain weight, you lose brain
there's
function.
140 studies now that say as your weight goes up, the actual physical size and function of your brain goes down, which should scare the fat off anyone.
It did me.
The health of your brain determines who you are, how successful you are. But you can reverse it. That's the exciting news. There's evidence we have. If you've damaged your brain through bad behaviors,
you can grow your brain back by eating.
So how do you avoid the sort of yo-yo experience that you had?
Yeah, well, you know, this last year, of course, was the most difficult year of my life. I lost a son after 27 years of mental illness, and I kind of had a triple whammy. First, I was in the hospital for a back problem, so I couldn't exercise for about 4 months. Then I didn't sleep for 6 months after Matthew died. And then I had members that were bringing me food every day in larger quantities that I could possibly eat. So when the Daniel Plan started, I immediately lost 65 of the 90 I wanted to lose. During the 6 months after Matthew, I gained about 35 back because I wasn't exercising, I was eating too much. I've lost 30 of that already, and so I'm back on the program. I'm going to be the first guy to prove this works twice. But part of it is motivation. As Daniel said, it wasn't, looking good wasn't enough to motivate me. And living longer didn't motivate me. I said, I'm going to die and go to heaven.
So let's talk about what's prescriptive in the plan. So Dr. Hyman, you say you've got a detox. How do you detox?
Yeah,
and
well,
how long does
the
it take?
truth is most of us are eating industrial processed food that has hijacked our brain chemistry, our taste buds, and our metabolism. We need to stop that. So getting off of the junk food, the sugar, the processed food, quitting gluten and dairy just for 10 days gives you a jump start to reset your metabolism, and then people feel better. the trick with the Daniel Plan, it wasn't a weight loss program, although people lost hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
It's a program for creating health. It's a science of creating health. And as a side effect, disease goes away. As a side effect, you lose weight. And that's the power of the Daniel Plan. It's
And
a
your
lifelong
energy
plan.
goes up. That was
That's
a big deal.
So that's right.
And 40 days is just to start, and your taste buds make themselves new every 10 days, which is why starting with 10 days is just perfect.
No, everyone will tell you, and you're a psychiatrist, though, that the hardest part about losing weight sometimes is you can exercise, you can eat healthier. There's really a lot of mental blocking of sticking
That's
to
the
a
F
plan.
of focus.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
how
this
do you
thing that's always out of control.
Yeah, I mean, things happen in your life. You know, you have challenges in your life that really get you off track. And
We're
how do-
human. It's
Yes,
true.
and-
That's
and-
why
So in
community
the
is so
program, we
powerful.
actually teach people not to believe every stupid thought they have. So getting your thoughts clear, clean, accurate, like your food, is
I
critical.
just want to understand two things. Number one, the sort of detox will give you a fresh start.
Yeah.
And have your brain, or in fact, your taste buds have been programmed. The second question for me always is, what can you eat?
Real
I
food.
understand eat in moderation.
Real
but what
food.
can you
It's
eat?
food that.
But what does that
in other
mean,
words,
though,
he
Mark?
said earlier something
Right.
about eat what grows.
Yeah, I said,
That's right.
well, if it grows on a plant, eat it. If it's built in a plant, don't eat it.
Basically, if it was made by man, you probably want to stay away. If it was made by God or nature, it's probably a good thing.
If you
Fruits,
don't
vegetables,
understand
nuts,
all the
seeds.
ingredients, guess what?
Yeah.
It's probably not good
And
for
this
you.
program is about abundance. The
It is.
recipes are amazing. And when you get rid of the processed foods, your taste buds
It's not
come
about
back, and then
deprivation.
things begin to actually taste
I
wonderful.
want to go back to talk about Matthew for a second, because
Yeah.
you talk so beautifully about him in your book
Yeah.
and the setback that you had, and that many people have setbacks,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
But in addition, you also wanted to talk about mental health and what your family went through.
Well, that's why we say that the faith and the focus are two of the secret sauce issues, along with friends, that make this a little bit different. Because you have to change your mindset. If I have a boat and it's heading across the lake and the autopilot says go east, and I want that boat to go west, I've got two opportunities to change it. I can grab the steering wheel and physically force it to go the other way. That's willpower. But eventually I get tired and I let go of the steering wheel and I go off the diet. I start smoking again or whatever. The other way is to actually change the autopilot. And we talk about this in the Daniel Plan. How do you change the autopilot? That's, the Bible calls it being renewed in the spirit of your mind, be transformed by the way you think. So it's not just changing your behavior, it's changing your thoughts, which takes it out of willpower and puts it more into changing the autopilot.
And the most important words when it comes to health, then what?
Then
I love
what?
that, yeah.
Yes.
You can ask
Exactly.
any question, then say, and then what?
And the
I got
spiritual
it.
motivation. We
Got
say,
it.
God made your body, Jesus died for your body, the Spirit lives in your body, you better take care of it.
All right,
Right.
thank you, doctors. Dr. Hyman, Dr. Amen, and Dr. Oman. Thank you, Pastor Warren.
Thank
The
you
Daniel
all.
Plan goes on sale now.
man.
Oh, man.